At the end of the garden season, it is tempting to just walk away from the garden and say, see you next year. But there were a few tasks I still wanted to do before our freezes arrived. Here are a few of those garden tasks that I've been working on over these fall months. First, I knew I wanted to plant fall strawberries. I've never done that before, but after researching it for a recent episode number 386 of the Beginner's Garden podcast, if you want to listen, I knew I wanted to try. I had clipped off the runners from the strawberry plants that I grew in my green stalk, and I rooted them into potting soil. Once they were established and ready, I planted them in a raised bed after I had added fresh compost. Then I made sure that the Garden in Minutes garden grids watered them every other day, partly to make sure that they got established and partly because right after I planted, we entered a 7-week period of no rain. My hope is that I will get a bed full of strawberries next spring. Second, I wanted to create a compost pile with my brown corn stalks, weeds, and other used garden debris. I knew I had too much material to fit in a compost bin, and I knew the corn stalks were too large. So I piled everything in a corner, and I used my walk-behind weed eater to shred the debris. As best I could, I piled the greens and the browns together with the hope that they will compost down over the winter. Third, in early October, it was time to harvest sweet potatoes. This year, I planted my sweet potatoes in a tall, round, raised bed surrounding my bell peppers. I had 3 bell peppers in the middle with 3 sweet potato plants surrounding them. Like sweet potatoes always do, their vines sprawled everywhere, so not only was I looking forward to harvesting sweet potatoes, but I also was happy to be able to tidy up this area. My sweet potato harvest, being one of my last big summer harvests, is the perfect way to end a big summer season. Of course, my very last task of the year was to plant garlic. I planted that right around my average first frost date, right before we got those heavy rains after that 7-week drought. While I didn't have my camera with me that day, I used the exact same method to plant my garlic as I did last year, and you can watch that in this video right here.